Hey guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to be going over what I did the last few days. I was actually in an interview, two of them to be exact, and I was on the other end. Meaning, I was not the interviewee, I was the interviewer. Wow, how times have changed with this new position that I'm in right now. But I want to go over some of the highlights, some of the things to watch out for when you're sitting through an interview, and what I acknowledge and what I've noticed with the candidates, right? They're young, professional, have these OSCP certifications, top notch. I mean, they're elite. Now, of course, within a 15-minute to a half an hour interview, I can't entirely pick their brain, all of it, but I could at least get them to explain themselves very thoroughly to the point of where that they could possibly be BSing, or they actually know what they're talking about, because you, as an interviewer, meaning myself, have to understand the concept, the terms, and the knowledge, and have the knowledge to actually understand if someone was spewing this to you. So don't ever think that you sitting in an interview can just mumble jumble because you think you're talking to the director or the CISO. Some of these people may have more knowledge than you on a technical level, which is absurd, right? I mean, that's unheard of practically in this industry. I've heard and seen for myself many positions, people of position of higher authority, meaning CISOs and directors and deputy directors, not have any technical knowledge whatsoever. But that's not always the case, and you can't always assume that. So what you want to do is make sure when you're sitting in an interview and you're explaining yourself or a situation or a technical roadblock that you've come across, make sure to elaborate, point out the details. Now, you don't have to disclose all the sensitive information of it, but the processes and how it operated, how it was concluded, that tells a lot of the individual sitting in that interview. Now, I'm going to go through the two candidates that I went through yesterday. It wasn't just myself, I had other team members from my team, which were my seniors, on the call as well. And right away, we were able to pick out who we favored and who we didn't, which was, unfortunately, because both candidates were really, really, high level. I mean, they both had their OSCP for a couple of years. And when I say a couple of years, I mean, they definitely had like 3-4 years under their belt. And they were coming in for this position in particular. It was, like a intermediate pen tester. And, that's what the clientels that we deal with. I mean, that's the business. That's the nature of the business that I'm in now, right? So, a long story short is that when you're sitting in an interview, and this is like a word of advice from me, is that make sure you're proper. Now, not just you physically, your environment. Now, the first candidate, it was awesome. Like, he was honed in, like the mic was right in front of him, and you heard everything crystal clear. Okay? Crystal clear, which is so important. Even though, let's just say I had a stuttering or I mispronounced words, but I was able to hear you out. Now, you can fault me for certain things. Now, if I keep on, let's just say, misinterpreting words or mispronouncing words, and constantly just pausing all the time, then that may be a bigger problem, right? You actually have to have a flow when you're explaining things, just like how kind of sort of how I'm doing it right now, right? I'm not pausing too long, but I'm pausing enough where I'm not putting in fillers, which is very important, right? You don't want to put fillers. And I pause. Or I can say something like, I don't want to put fillers. Okay, now, see the difference? Like, you want to put a pause, think a little bit. All right, now the question was asked, and I'm going to respond clearly, thoroughly, and as detailed as possible, but not providing too much detail where I'm compromising or kind of like putting my old company at risk of a PHI or information that I shouldn't be releasing because you may have an NDA somewhere. Or, that's hypothetical. Maybe this is your first interview and you don't know what to say or how to say it. So you have to slow it down, but don't be too slow. Now, the other flip side to that was the second candidate. His environment had cars running, horns beeping, people screaming in the background, dogs barking. Whew, that was really something, because the challenge for myself, I don't know about my colleagues, but it was trying to hone in on what the candidate was trying to answer when I proposed the questions. And of course, I'll do another video on the exact questions that I proposed, which is very generic, but at the same time, I can gather a lot of information based on how you answer and what you answer with, which is, it's doable. But I'll probably surprise you with one before the end of this video. So, and that was just an environment situation. That wasn't even about talent. It wasn't even about knowledge. You just have to be able to present it in an environment where you're not having to focus on other things. Like, you all of a sudden, while you're interviewing and you're talking to the candidate, and they turn around and like they have to shut the window. You should be prepared for that already. You see the difference? Like, you see the distance as soon as I turn around, and you lose that focus, right? You're like, all of a sudden your attention is not with the candidate and what he's trying to say. You're focused on what he's trying to do. Like me right now, like, oh, look, sorry. I had to close the window because it was too loud, or to lower the volume back there. If you guys don't know, that's Jet Li. And so that's, it's like that. It's just the simple things make a huge difference, huge impact on how to interview while you're interviewing. Because I would say 100% at this point, for the interviewers that I've been sitting through, whether it's for myself or interviewing other people, it's full remote. And if you can't get your environment the way it should be, do so beforehand. Make sure your Teams is working, or whatever meeting that your go-to meeting, anything, Zoom, all that. Make sure all that is working properly. Make sure you have a decent microphone. Make sure your camera doesn't have any smears or fingerprints on it, because it'll make you look all not focused. All right. So that's pretty much what I wanted to discuss. And one of the questions I always propose to any candidate, now that I've been sitting through so many interviews, because I'm trying to look for a great pen tester. Even though, they're beginners or intermediate, we're still looking. You still have to obtain a certain amount of knowledge, education, and experience in order to get to that intermediate level. We're not hiring straight out of school and have no experience whatsoever. But I'll put that on the market, is that we're potentially looking for something like that. That's a little, probably in 2024, first quarter, second quarter, I'm actually building out an academy for training young pen testers. And if you're interested, comment below, because I would love to have some people who may be interested in this pen testing environment take these courses. It's very generic. But on the flip side to that, I'm also part of now the Hack the Box team. Well, I just started. I've known about it. I've never taken it. And now I have joined Hack the Box, and I'm learning a lot already. I'm in the academy. I'm not in the labs. So if you guys don't know what the difference is, the academy is more like literature. You answer questions, you follow through these little labs. But the actual labs are you're launching VMs. Well, both of them, you're launching VMs. And then, you're doing more interactive work, like real pen testing, hacking stuff with the labs. But the academy is more of a training knowledge and definitions, and how to maneuver around an environment and stuff like that. So, but guys, when you're sitting through an interview, just make sure, besides knowing the facts, having the knowledge and having the education or the experience, make sure everything else is proper. Great camera, great sound, meaning microphone, and also just make sure your environment is you're enclosed in your own environment for the time being. Whether it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, a half an hour, or even an hour, just make sure that no one can interrupt you for anything. Even if it's natural causes, make sure your windows are closed, because anything can happen outside. The wind blows or something knocks down, right? That's nature taking place, unfortunately. But you just have to suck it up and make sure that you're not surrounded by disturbances or things that can distract your interviewer from you. because you're the focus. You're the main subject. You should be selling yourself. Can you imagine if you went to a car dealership and the salesman is like dressed all run down, maybe like he's not too proper, and he's eating whatever lunch while he's talking to you to try to sell the car. You're losing focus here, right? You're focusing on why is he eating and why is he chewing so loud, and what is all this going on, like what, you know, like take the time out to stop what you're doing, focus proper, make sure you're aligned, make sure you're speaking into the mic directly, and pronounce everything. Even though, let's just say you have, English is your second language or whatever language that you're interviewing in, just make sure that you understand what you're going to speak about. Whether, if you know you have an interview coming up, prepare yourself with definitions, meaning, acronym, terms, because the last thing you want to do is throw out an acronym and someone questions you, oh, so what does that acronym stand for? And you're like, oh, I forget, it's that simple. So in preparation for this, I want to say happy Thanksgiving if you're in the United States. And I want to thank you guys for subscribing. And I enjoy this channel growth while you guys are enjoying my videos. It shows that I'm being appreciated and I'm helping you guys along the way. Message me, comment below if you have any questions or if you want any preparation. I can help you with that because I've been on both sides of the boat, right? And I have studied, I wouldn't say mastered. I have studied and studied and studied how to do proper interviews. And now I'm preparing and studying and mastering how to be a great interviewer, not just sit there and have nothing structured or organized. All right. So two sides of the boat, and I'm combining it because I have experience on both sides now. So if you have any questions, comment below. If you have, want me to speak about additional items that we want to address while sitting through a cybersecurity interview, let me know and I'll do a video on it. And so that way the public is aware and you could land your next awesome job. All right. I want to thank you all for being here and enjoy your long weekend. Bye.